This is the Sprinter Mom with Lashes On podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sprinter Mom with Lashes On podcast. For all you listeners out there, we have some very exciting guests to introduce. Allison and Ryan Moore have graciously joined us. You've heard Allison a few times in my podcast, but her husband has joined us, and we are doing a couples interview?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Yeah, all right.
Discussion.
Listen up.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now I'll eat it.
I was going to say a
Enough.
throuple, but then I'm like, no, that's like a couple.
A thruple
We're
is
doing
a
throuple, like
is it
three people together.
three? Three's a crowd.
We don't do thruples.
No. So you guys have been married for 24 years.
No.
25.
Almost 23
years.
23 years.
It feels like 25.
Now, yeah, it feels like 40.
Okay.
Or does it feel like 10?
Depends on the day.
Yes. So even though you've been married all these decades, two plus,
Yeah.
is there ever something that drives you crazy about the other person? You know, something that happened.
You're going right
Man,
in. Like you
jumping
don't
into
even
the question.
stop.
Because no, not just something lighthearted and fun. Because
Okay.
this morning,
Oh.
this morning, I actually never knew this happened. So I'm going to get ready to go to work, and I'm looking for my razor to shave on.
Oh no.
And I'm looking for my razor, and I see her behind me. She like darts behind me and like quietly tries to go to the shower.
Because he's like, where's my razor? Where's my razor? And I'm like, here it is.
She literally took my razor to shave her armpits.
No, my legs.
Oh, it's even worse.
Why is that worse?
I don't know. I got sensitive neck hair. I need to make sure it always stays a sharp blade. And you love to just. How many times have you been doing this?
I only have used it maybe 2 to 3 times. I actually told Ryan, I said that was my bad because you never catch me because I put it right back.
Right.
You know, I throw it on the counter where you throw it every day. So like you never notice.
Right.
But
I go, God forbid. I mean, you use Instacart for everything. You could at least put an Instacart in for
Another
razor
razors.
for
I know.
yourself.
I need to. You're right.
So 17 years.
He was very upset.
Oh,
But you didn't even know until.
yeah, upset is a strong word, but you know.
And your neck looks fine today. So.
Oh, thank you.
It's fine.
Well, he changed blades. Don't
Oh.
worry.
I could not have that blade
He was
on my neck.
grossed out.
Well, there was a couple weeks ago, I actually used her razor that was in the shower to shave my shoulder hair.
Well, he comes out of the
I come out and
bathroom.
I'm like bleeding everywhere out of my
And I was
shoulder.
like, what are you doing? And I was like, did you shave your back? And he's like, maybe. I didn't know you used my razor to
not
shave.
technically my back, more just my shoulders.
Oh, I know the hair.
I'm just like-
When you're over 40 plus, you're like, man, you look back and you're like, wow, that is some aggressive growth.
Well, and normally I don't, but it's like there was a razor there in the shower, so I just took it. And
So that thing has been
Going for it
been
and-
used so much as like a
No,
Yeah,
you need
it
to
was
ask
bad.
your wife to do it. That's what Ryan does.
I still
to
have
me.
like a scar there.
Yeah, I had to put a
It's-
Band-Aid
it's
on it because
bad.
it was like profusely bleeding.
Does anything? What does he do that drives you crazy?
Nothing.
Oh,
He's just perfect in every way.
Yes.
Oh, what do you do that drives me crazy?
It's good that you have to think about it for a while.
It actually is because I know immediately what you're gonna say. Probably when he eats, I can hear it.
That drives me crazy
The
too.
mouth noises, I can't stand it. But that's probably the only thing. You're
Wow.
very neat. You pick up after yourself. Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
I think. Yeah, that's probably it. Maybe when we disagree about things with our daughter, that's annoying
good.
to me.
Yeah.
But we can get into that later. But yeah, probably that's it.
Okay.
What annoys you about me? I already know what you're gonna say.
Well, and again, I think it's the little things, it's the small things. It's like you twirling your hair constantly, but it's not that just twirling your hair bothers me. It's that you know that it bothers me, but you continue to do it even though you know that it bothers me.
No, so what I do
So
is
it's more that where I've said it to you several times before. I don't like you twirling your hair. It bothers me. And you'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. This bothers you? Like,
So-
yes.
But also, how does that bother you? It doesn't even make any noise.
Thank you.
It's like, why does chewing bother her?
Because it makes noise.
Okay, but I could see it. We have 5 senses, okay? And one of those is sight. And when I can see it,
What
that
is it
bothers
because
me.
she's doing it for hours and you just feel like she's not being productive with her day?
No, he doesn't like the movement. So like we'll
It's not just the hair, or
It's the
sometimes she'll just be
movement.
like sitting there and like Like she always has to be doing something with her hands.
I think it's because I think I've undiagnosed ADHD.
Oh, sure.
And so it's like a
That's fair.
stim for me. I've done it since I was like 2 years old.
Mhm.
You knew when we started dating that I twirled my hair. You probably thought it was cute
and we
at
all
the
think
time.
when we get married that we'll be able to change our spouse.
I
So I
didn't
thought
think
once we
that.
get married, you'll just stop twirling your hair because you'll know that
No.
it bothers me.
So we'll sit on opposite ends of the couch and he'll put a pillow up on his face, like right here, so he cannot see me twirling my hair. Or I'll do it to where like I grab my piece and then I can't even see it being twirled, but he can see it.
But I just know she's doing it, and that bothers me.
Wow.
Okay,
She
he
knows
knows.
that
That's
bothers me.
you have some undergirding like anxiety
No
or
doubt.
Well,
inner
no,
rage.
it's why because I know that chewing bothers her,
oh,
and because I love my spouse,
exactly.
I will go and chew somewhere else because
that's
I know
I
that it
don't know
bothers
if
her.
you will, but
Okay, but Allison just said something that I want to point out. You said we sit at opposite ends of the couch,
Yeah.
and he puts a pillow up. Like right now, we're all sitting next to each other. But have you ever really sat next to your spouse watching TV nightly, or are you literally at opposite ends? Because Ryan and I are like, I'm over here, he's over here. All the kids are on my end, and he has all this space.
we have 8 kids that are going to watch a show with us. They all pile up next to Sarah, and then I get this whole couch to myself.
that is annoying.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No,
But have
that's
you ever
very
sat
annoying.
next to each other, like to watch TV?
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
we do.
I
Yeah,
mean,
from time to
sometimes,
time.
but usually we're like yesterday we watched a movie and
Well,
we were on.
we watched the movie. I watched the movie while she was on her phone twirling her hair.
I watched the movie. I just wasn't really into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She watched the movie and then she asked, "Oh, is that the guy that was their friend?" I'm like, "Have you not been watching the movie? That's obvious."
We sit on opposite ends of the couch.
Okay.
Like we're not that couple that has to like.
Cuddle.
Yeah.
No, we're past.
We're
What
past
about,
the cuddle
what about
stage.
in bed? Do you cuddle in bed?
No, don't touch me.
No, we have
No,
a
we
king
do-
size bed. No,
We occasionally will do a quick cuddle when you're feeling like
Sad.
when she's feeling
I need
sad.
to be. I need to be like held.
when you're
It's
feeling
so weird.
sad.
Because
Yeah.
I have no like mommy or daddy issues. Like I just want to be held by him when I'm like sad.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And then we slowly like
I'm like,
roll.
and I'm like, what's the appropriate amount of time I can move away? Like, how long can I turn over? She's all like curled up to me, like she's latched on for dear
and
life.
we're like sweaty too because we're like we go in and out of like hot flashes or something. So
You're too
then
young for
it's
that.
like, geez.
Well, it's
No.
weird because your arm begins to fall asleep because you're on it weird while you're
Yeah,
cuddling and
yeah.
it becomes tingly. So you just gotta.
No, and when we travel, we hate having to sleep in a queen size bed. It's
Yeah,
like
it's too
the
tight.
worst. And when we've traveled with his family before, we're always like, okay, none of you have a king size bed. Why are you taking the king size bed? Like we need it because we have one normally. It's
You
true.
get the logic to that. Yeah.
Yes, I'm like, you guys are used to it being in a queen size bed. We need the king size bed.
It's like that Seinfeld episode because he's sat in first class before. Like that means he has to sit in first class again because he knows what it's like if he were to miss out.
I feel you.
You don't get to sit in
It's
first class.
it's true. So yeah, we have to the king size bed. If we have to be in a queen, I'm
That's
like,
fair. And
I
you
feel
guys are
so
both tall.
Yeah.
it's awful. So.
So Allison is all about the games. We've vacationed
Oh.
with you guys together so many times. She always has the games on point, and you have developed a couples game for us to talk about as we get going.
Well, I didn't develop it, but
You got it from
I got it. So we're gonna do 7 questions.
Okay.
So we have paper and we have pens. And so am I gonna ask the questions even though
Sure.
it's your podcast? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna ask questions.
Of course.
You
Is there any other way?
Is there any other way? And we're gonna see out of 7 questions which couple knows each other better.
Oh.
Okay. It's just bragging rights. There's no prize. So
Okay.
no cheating. You can't show your partner what you're.
So we have to say the same answer?
Yes, we all have. Yes, you have to say the same answer, and then we have to say the
Okay,
same answer.
great.
So number
We
1,
say the same answer or we write down the answer to the
Right.
same question.
write down the answer. to
Maybe
this-
let's practice with the first one.
No, we're just going for it.
probably
I
not
don't
that
have
complicated.
extra questions. This is not that difficult.
Okay, let's
Okay. What's your husband's favorite movie?
Or your spouse's favorite
No,
movie?
you're answering for him. He's
Oh.
answering for himself. So you have to answer what your favorite
Favorite
movie
movie.
is.
Recent or like all time?
All time.
Oh.
Oh gosh. She's gonna fail.
I'm so nervous.
Okay.
Are we not sharing it?
We will share once everybody's done.
Okay.
Right, Sarah.
You're writing along. It's
All
definitely
right.
wrong.
We'll do one couple at a time. You guys go first. What's Ryan's favorite movie?
Anger man.
I said
man.
birdcage.
You can't put
Birdcage.
two. You said birdcage or.
Or sitting right there.
Well, it doesn't matter because neither of them are
Wow,
good.
you put two.
First off, definitely not the
You
bird.
used to love birdcage.
Who
When I was-
likes
Dating.
birdcage?
It's an old.
That is the weirdest movie.
Birdcage.
I mean, Saving Private Ryan is definitely probably number 2.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ryan,
Oh,
ready?
gosh.
Gladiator.
Gladiator.
Oh,
Wow.
high five. We get a point. All right.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
1 point for the
Really?
Moors. Okay. Next. How does your wife take her coffee? So you have to answer how you take your coffee. You have to say how she takes her coffee.
Like in the morning or from
Yes.
a place.
It doesn't
From
matter.
Hanai?
Sure. Or
Yeah.
from Hanai. Yeah. How does your
I-
wife
I
like
wanna
her
do that.
coffee? Okay. How does your wife like her coffee?
Well, it changes daily.
Well,
but
it doesn't. It doesn't, but that's okay. All right. Go.
Home black.
Home is black.
Oh.
Or white mocha with almond milk, but that's when I'm out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You drink black coffee?
Yeah.
Oh.
Every morning.
Wow. I didn't know you were a
Point.
psycho.
Point.
Okay. Keep your points. All
Yes,
right.
got
Ready?
it.
I said light and sweet like my man.
I said instant with protein shake
Oh, gosh.
because that's what you do.
Right now I do.
Exactly.
But I do like it light and sweet, which that kind okay, we won't count.
No, that does not count.
All right,
It's not
fine,
even
fine,
close.
fine.
And also,
Okay.
anyone who
Okay.
drinks instant coffee.
Gross.
I put it in my protein shake
she
in the
does.
morning
Yeah.
sounds
to make it
so
like a
Every morning.
coffee. It's
So
a
I wrote
protein
down exactly
coffee.
how you like your
I
coffee,
know.
and I was wrong.
You're right. You're right. It's fine.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Who's most
Doesn't count,
likely to
no
say
point.
I'm sorry first?
Oh,
Who's most likely to say I'm sorry first? Okay.
So easy.
Ready? Go.
Me.
Ryan.
Man, you women.
Oh,
You,
2
you guys are
points
like
for
a
us.
vault. You hold grudges.
we've just learned how to keep our women happy. Like,
Yeah,
we
I'm
just don't
sorry.
even
Yeah,
wanna
whatever
talk
I need
about
to
it
do, I'm
anymore.
sorry, babe. Yeah.
Sorry, I was wrong. You were right. Okay, let's.
Do you even
move
know what
on.
you're sorry for? Whatever you feel like. It
Whatever
should
it
be.
is, babe. Whatever.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we kind of already did this one. This
Okay,
might
skip
not be
it.
a fair one. What's your husband's biggest pet peeve?
Oh.
Like about you?
No, just pet peeve in general.
Oh,
Oh, my
man.
biggest pet peeve in
Yes,
general.
in general. What's your
not
biggest
necessarily
pet
about
peeve?
us.
This is a hard one.
There's so many.
Yeah.
I have a lot too. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Hold on,
whoa,
wait.
whoa.
Chewing loudly, yes.
Chewing loud?
Or loud cars.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Like the ones with the out the mufflers and it's like
No, like me driving with the kids.
All the kids
screaming.
talking. Whenever there's a lot of kids talking, and then it gets me going.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, people.
Bad
I said
drivers.
people.
People? Wait, what was the question again? Things that annoy me?
What's your husband's biggest pet peeve?
No.
People?
Not all people, just people that drive bad.
Okay, that doesn't.
They do. You do get so irritated.
Yes.
And you're one of the few people that have on the auto text about, I will check this when I arrive because I'm driving.
That's
I
an
do have that.
You have that on your
Oh, I
text.
didn't even know that.
That's like an automatic thing that Apple does.
Oh,
No,
yes.
You have to select it.
Oh, you do?
He
Yes,
selects it.
You
You
had
have
it
it
before.
too.
I do. I changed mine
And like
to
you're like
something else.
you're like on FaceTime while you drive, I'm sure.
I'm not.
No, hers says I'm either in Target spending money or
Yes.
something like that.
Something like that.
Mhm.
I'm either walking very briskly in Target or driving. I cannot answer your call right now. Okay.
Wow, no point, guys.
No point. Nope. I think it's still 2-2.
Yep.
All right. What's one item of clothing your wife can't stand that you wear?
Oh.
What's one item of clothing your wife can't stand that you wear?
Well, we don't have one.
Oh, you
No.
like everything he wears.
There's nothing that I don't like.
Really?
I look good all the time. Clearly.
There's not like a pair of underwear or like dirty socks or.
I mean, I
Seriously?
don't like that he leaves everything on the ground, but no, I like all of his clothes.
Okay, well,
Wow.
What about you guys?
give it time. Your gray dingy shirt.
White, gray, faded shirt.
Yes.
Something. Yeah.
It is the ugliest
She
shirt.
always says something about it.
He says it's gray. I think it's dingy white. It has a tiny little
It
hole in
probably
it.
was white at one point and is now
It-
turned into
See,
gray.
Yeah.
there is a trick I learned from my mother years ago
Throw it away.
that you toss it and you blame it on the cleaner.
Oh, well, my cleaner doesn't do my laundry. So, and they don't throw anything away. Okay, we got a point for that. All right. Who's the better driver? Am I going to run out of paper here? I might. I'm running out of paper.
definitely most efficient, for sure.
Who is the better driver?
Me.
Me.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
I said Ryan.
Baloney. You are an aggressive and a defensive driver.
You have to be here
Yes.
in Phoenix.
but
That's a
I
good
am
driver.
the best driver.
Very slow.
I mean, and I stay in the lines.
okay.
Who's gotten in more accidents between
Who's
the
gotten
two
in
of
more
you?
accidents?
Or more
Oh,
tickets?
me.
I've never been in an accident.
I got.
Who's gotten more tickets?
Oh yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. I've never had a ticket. I've never
I
had
get a
a
Okay,
yearly
then I'd say
speeding
Sarah.
ticket.
I say Sarah. I agree with you, Sarah.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
fine.
Wait, we're at
Two more
points.
questions. Who would
Wow.
survive on a desert island the longest?
Are we counting diabetes?
I got the beatus. Yes, I know I have my meds.
The
I have
beatus.
my meds.
Okay, ready?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would
What
last
is
a
it?
minute.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Ryan watches so much Survivor.
Oh, I want to go on
me
Survivor.
too.
Even with his diabetes, he
Hey,
would know
Survivor
what
producers,
to
I am ready. The moment you're ready to take a diabetic.
do. The
make
moment
it
you can
happen.
provide
Can you?
insulin on the side, Ryan is ready.
Probably can.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure because they allow like medicine and stuff. I would watch this girl on TikTok and she talks about it. She was on it.
What's her
And
name?
Kelly.
I do too.
Oh yeah.
I love Kelly.
So-
Wentworth.
Yes,
Kelly Wentworth.
yes,
We
Wentworth.
love her.
We love
Yeah.
Kelly Wentworth.
Oh my god!
And she talks about how there's like you have a box
Yes,
of like
yeah.
stuff that you need. So I'm sure insulin.
Is she the one that won twice?
No,
No,
she never
but
won.
she's almost won.
Yeah, she
Oh,
never
okay.
won. All right, last question. All right,
Okay.
who is most likely to clog the toilet?
Oh,
Who is most likely to clog the toilet? The toilet. Sarah, you're cheating over there.
I already wrote.
see it.
I already wrote.
You did? Okay, ready?
Me. Allison.
Definitely.
You know
Why?
It's like
the
almost every
squatty
day.
potty. Your squatty potty just really does the trick.
the squatty potty and then the bidet. I cannot live without both.
No,
of those
I got a good
things.
bidet too now.
Oh,
You inspired me for the bidet, which is kind of
See?
strange, but what made you get inspired? This girl Allison, she told me it just really cleanses her out really good.
What is it?
Once you go bidet, you don't
you guys win.
go back.
We did. We won.
I think it was
Which I'm not
5-3.
surprised. We've been married longer. It's fine. So.
Yeah. We
That was fun.
Only like 6 years longer.
I mean,
Yes.
that's a lifetime.
I know that's true.
all right, I got some we got to get to know some things here. You guys been married over 2 decades.
Correct.
What has been one of the most difficult seasons of marriage
Oh.
for you guys?
Well, we've had a lot of transitions where we've moved quite a bit, being in ministry together, different churches. But I think like probably the hardest season is. Are you twirling your hair right now?
No.
Is
And the mic needs to be
sorry.
a little closer. There you go.
is probably having a son with autism is tough, and that it kind of comes and goes. But probably 3 to 4 years ago was probably the toughest part of that for him, and just trying to
Yeah.
navigate through that.
He
together.
wasn't wanting to go to school in the morning and he was just having massive meltdowns and we hadn't really tuned medication or anything like that. And so that was a really rough season. Ryan was like carrying him into the school.
Remember that.
Behavior specialist had to come out and meet him in the parking lot. So just a lot of anxiety for probably 18 months.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
just starts your day when you're trying to get your son to school and he's screaming and yelling. You just start your day like with that. You're already on edge right away. So no matter what she would do, even if it's not even twirling her hair, I probably would get a little bit too upset because you're just so irritated.
I think you
with
handled
everything.
it well. You were very patient and a lot of tears. So that was probably
How did it impact your guys' marriage?
I don't think
I think in some ways it's helped because it kind of forces you to communicate, forces you to work as a team, forces you to come together, figure something out together, what that looks like.
Yeah, I think like having a special needs child, I mean, what do they say? Like divorce rate is really high, which I can see that being true just because of the stress that
Yeah.
it produces on just the family unit in general. But I think for us, it helped us understand each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we tag team a lot. Like I'm out, or like you're in type of thing, which I think is helpful. So we've come together in terms of like working together instead of being against each other and at odds and like trying to figure it out. We've come together and figured it out like with each other's strengths.
That's good.
Yeah, that's probably
What
it.
about for you, man? There's so many.
Yeah, I actually have a lot. it's twofold. I would say every situation we've had with our adoptive teenagers has been so brutal. And like adopting Drew took a long time. Like, yeah, it's always in the big picture been great at the end, but like being in it and like cops coming to your house or running away or like some of those situations have been so hard to go through because like then you're like trying to explain it to the younger kids and like I don't know, there's just been a lot of hard stuff like that. But I would say that
like the PTSD.
Yeah.
Like we've had some big explosive moments in the home that takes a while. Like we weren't not necessarily in conflict, but it was also with the kids. It was very
so like feel like you're on eggshells.
And our window of tolerance, our stress levels at 100%, and we just are, and every single thing is just freaking us out.
But I would say there was this weird time, and I want to say it was 11 years of marriage, because I was like, you know how people get the 7-year itch or whatnot? For some reason, when we were married, like 10 or 11 years, I felt like he had fallen out of love with me. Like he had gotten like really like quiet and seemed bored. And he even said like, I can't explain it. Like, I don't know what's happening to me. And like, I don't remember what happened. Like, I know you talked to Gary Kinder a little bit. Like there were some things.
Yeah, I don't know.
And maybe like counseling worked it out. But I remember like it felt like a dryness, but there was no reason behind it. And so it was very confusing.
I think that forced us to have to like look inside and go get some help. I think there's just maybe seasons of marriage that you kind of get stale.
Yeah.
And, it's nothing you did. I think maybe we were growing. I think we had a habit of growing separately. And I was growing and changing. You were changing as a person. We had all these kids and we had to learn to grow together.
Yeah. I don't think I was growing much. I felt like
Or maybe I was growing and you weren't.
Were growing.
That's probably what it was. I was changing and then you were.
But we also weren't connecting as a couple.
Right.
At all.
So you guys have been through this a few times though now. So how has it gotten better? Or maybe not gotten better. Like I'm sure it's still challenging, of course, but how have you guys
we've done the adoption several times
better?
Or the state? I think we've only had there was a stagnant part of our marriage and needing to talk to someone. So we did 2 spurts of marriage counseling, and that one was a couples that turned into individual work for me mostly, because I was working through like my confidence, identity, and striving for success versus being content in who God created me to be. Remember that? Yeah, everything feels like as like a cloud, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this last bit of taking in the other kids, it's just been kind of a maintenance of making sure that we're strong
and like
connected,
fixing some of my issues to then be like a strong parent and wife of a big household.
Yeah.
How do you guys keep it from getting stale? Like, how do you keep your marriage fresh and focus on each other in the midst of having a large me.
I think we're pretty, I think having a clear routine with the kids has been helpful. Mm-hmm. I think me trying to not go into the office on Fridays, mm-hmm. us having like dates on Fridays, mm-hmm. vacationing together has been good.
I really think vacations save us because I'm not kidding, because mm-hmm. like we'll like really go away and really connect. Yeah. And then it's like, even if that lasts me the next 298 days, mm-hmm. then it does. Right. And
you mean 90 days?
Yeah, I was going to say 209. Yeah, maybe 3 months.
We know our vacation.
I maybe like, 5 at the most.
I just mean like big vacations, just him and I. Like.
So what's been your best vacation, you feel like?
Oh my gosh. Oh.
I mean, I know you have a lot to choose from, but what's been like
them together or
yeah.
What's in the photo vault vacations?
What's what?
What's in the photo vault vacations? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lock one on my phone.
I think obviously going Greece was definitely the best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because that was our first
international trip. Yeah. Okay. We've never been out of the country like that. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. For our 15-year anniversary, that's what we did. And And now that we've experienced it,
We'll never go back.
Literally every year, we're like, where can we go next? Like, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I just love.
It takes us like one whole flight to decompress and to be connected and put the kids, because you can almost like turn off the kid brain for a little while.
As long as you
the work
trust
brain.
who they're with.
Yes. And then you can be partners.
So you guys, so how you do that is just vacations, is taking time away for just you two.
And we also have like, we do downtime with the kids. And then once I think this is probably a bigger thing, but with a large family, when the kids have time to connect with all of us, like on a Sunday or on the weekends, when we have downtime all together.
All the stress and anxiety comes down.
Yep. And then all the kids feel at ease. Their home, the home feels at peace. So when the home feels at peace, then they're relaxed, which allows mom to be relaxed. And then we are able to connect. Then once the kids are relaxed, mom's relaxed, then wife is relaxed, then we can kind of connect.
Yeah.
But it's not, if there's chaos in the home, there's no way that she's going to feel present. She's going to be fixing, dealing with needs and all of that stuff.
When you guys were in that chaotic time with Ryson, like, are you able to get babysitters? Like, how do you guys as a couple stay okay? Or now that like you're working out of town, like what do you do intentionally that kind of keeps that flame or keeps that fire or desire?
I mean, yes, we have had help with Ryson, which has been really great. We only have 2 kids, so that makes our life a lot easier. And they're so far apart in age. Like Eliza's 17, Ryson's 11. So, you know, we've had it fairly easy with the fact of like, hey, kids, we're going to go to dinner. And just leave them at home because they can pretty much take care of themselves at this point, which is nice. I think you guys are almost,
we were there
and then now you're not.
We lost it.
But that's okay.
But yeah, it's a great feeling.
So, you know, I think vacations is a big deal for us too. Like we try to go away, twice a year, just us two?
Twice a year, just us two, and then probably another twice a year with the kids.
Yeah. Even if it's just a quick like staycation, or like I just visited him in Texas for the weekend, just me. We do like on Fridays, we do lunch or brunch together. We play pickleball, you know, just some little things. Even things that don't have to cost a lot of money.
Exactly.
But just him and I. We're not good at night, like connecting and like talking on the couch and like that. Like that's not really us.
Yeah.
But
and I think it's probably figuring out what people need to know that are married, that are either newly married or want to be in a long-term relationship. Like you have to figure out what works for you guys. But finding intentional time to connect is a vital piece of that.
Right.
Like we're not late night people.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have to talk at 8:00 at night, I'm done. Yeah, exactly.
I think the big thing too is like we've never put our kids' needs before our marriage needs.
Okay, that's great.
And I know like, and I don't know how it is with you guys with all the kids that you have, but for us, it's like our kids are not our main priority. Our marriages and our relationship with God is, and then out of that overflow, we can give to our kids. And if we don't have a strong marriage, then we're doing a disservice to our kids. So for us, you know, I know some people, they just run themselves ragged trying to make sure that their kids are happy and involved in everything. And we just have never subscribed to that thinking. Not that it's necessarily bad if you do, but for us, it was just like our marriage is first and our kids will see that and then they will grow up to be happy and healthy, you know, productive citizens. So just putting ourselves first and not our kids.
And I think that's what we've observed. That's what we've noticed when we kind of look back. Like when our marriage is the strongest, that's when our kids are the healthiest.
That's right. That's
and
right.
when our marriage is not strongest, that's when you see like our kids are a little bit off right now. And that's probably because of us.
Very true.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
We, even yesterday, we did our monthly marriage counseling. And you must have told the kids that they asked what you're doing.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I got marriage therapy with Dad. And they're like, why? And I'm like, well, do you want us to stay married?
You want us to be healthy and love each other?
Right.
But then at dinner, we're all sitting at the table with 8, 9, you know, all 9 kids were there and we're eating dinner and we go around their highlights of their day. And one of the kids like, so how was the marriage counseling? And then Sarah said, oh, it was great. And all of the kids started applauding.
Oh
my gosh.
Good.
That's awesome.
I
because I was like, we're still married. And they're all like, yeah, everyone. But then it like got too much. Then it got too loud.
Oh, they got too loud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're all excited.
Even the 2-year-old's like, I don't know what we're clapping for. This is so great.
Yeah.
It was so
I think it's
funny.
good though for your kids to see like you're going to therapy and that's a healthy thing because
Yes.
therapy sometimes is like, oh, we got to fix something, but it's not. It's just you guys are going to like make sure that you are continuing to be healthy and strong.
We have
in
to
your marriage.
maintain something.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, it's being proactive with your marriage instead of always reactive. It's so something's wrong, we better go fix it. Well, let's work on those things now so we know how to prevent those things from happening in the future.
And I think we have a cycle that we have identified.
Totally. Of my crazy.
We have a cycle.
We have a crazy.
We have a cycle.
We have a crazy and we have an aggressive over here. So it's fine.
Aggressive, intense.
Intense.
A fixer, an intense fixer.
Okay.
So I need to always fix the problem, and I'm learning just to.
And I am the problem. Just kidding. No, I'm not.
But we're learning to identify it and call it out.
But I also think anyone who has this amount of kids, you see it all the time, like on social media. But like you hear often that people don't stay married once there's just so much going on. And I think I actually need to do a better job of not putting my kids' needs first because I think like the problem is I'll try not to put their needs first, but there's too many needs. And so you have to, it's like,
you feel guilty.
it's a constant wheel of who needs the most attention right now.
Right.
And he kind of gets the last of it sometimes.
Yeah. And then you feel guilty about if one of the kids' needs aren't met. Like she personalizes the blame if a kid's tablet isn't charged for them. And I said, no. In this home, you're responsible for your own charging.
That's right. Absolutely.
Mom is not going to charge your tablet. If you don't, call natural consequences. And your 1 hour of tablet time you get today, guess what? It's dead. You get 0. Congratulations. Welcome to becoming a mature young person.
Right.
And that even kills her.
It hurts my heart.
Yeah,
because I'm like wanting to be like so like cautious and careful and caring and like wanting them to all get along and like because I still like we're like this blended family and so there are so many emotions and different reactions that I'm like always like tiptoe.
So we've noticed that we're pretty different. Our personality, or even our parenting style. I think we're very united in decisions, but she's definitely more cautious and buffering.
Oh, I'm
more direct, which is similar to you guys have in your marriage, very different personalities.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in large settings, I imagine even at home in conflict, how does that work? Because we have Ryan, who you tend to be more thoughtful.
I'm probably more like Sarah. And Allison is more like you.
Yes.
Which is probably like most of my good friends are more like her.
Yeah.
Like my guy friends, of course.
Yes.
But yeah.
Answer the question.
But I think too, how that's kind of, I think it's helped us and we kind of embrace a difference in our personalities as well. And I think even when we parent our kids, I think some of it is reprioritizing your kids' needs to what matters the most. And what I mean by that is, as people of faith that we follow Jesus, the most important thing for our kids is that they grow up and follow Jesus. Like where they go to school, that's important. Sure. What kind of jobs they have, that's great. What kind of sports they're involved in, nothing wrong with that. But the most important thing is that our kids will grow up and follow Jesus. And so I think because we're on the same page as far as that goes, how that looks, how we express that, how we parent that might be a little bit different, but it's still, we're going towards the same goal. So while I might be a little bit more laid back at times and not maybe as confrontational, for lack of a better term, understanding that she's going to be a little bit more aggressive, we still have the same goal in mind. And instead of that, us being at odds with each other on that, this is actually a good thing. And I think too, like for her personality, it is more outgoing. It's a little bit more challenging. I think she probably has the most misunderstood personality type on the planet. As a if a male has her personality type, that's looked at as a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. You challenge, you stand up for yourself. That's good. But when a woman does that, even still in culture, it's like, whoa, wait a second. Is a woman supposed to do that? And so instead of me trying to squash that and say you shouldn't do that, it's like, that's a good quality that you have. Like, that's how God's made you. And so she uses that in a good way. Like, she will advocate for our son like no one else.
That's right.
And she will challenge and she will go for it and she will make it happen for him no matter what the cost, which is great. I tend to not be that way. Like, I'm more like, hey, Ryson, let's go talk about Power Rangers. Let's go to the park. Let's go hang out. And she's like online researching schools and researching, the right doctors for him, because she wants to make sure that he has the best stuff available.
That's right.
So I think that's how it's worked in us, at least for our kids.
Yeah.
And you really it's what it sounds like you're saying is like, you guys have understand each other's personalities, but you are so united in your values.
Yeah.
So you can be different.
Yeah.
But you need to be accepting of how they're wired.
Yes.
And even just learning who he is. I think learning our Enneagrams, which I know we talk about this a lot, but it helped me understand him better.
Sure. It gave language to like,
yes,
who you are.
So like when I'm asking him a question and he's just sitting there and he's not answering me, that used to really irritate me. I'm like, hello, did you hear me? But he's thinking about his answer and he needs time.
Well, she'll even say, what do you think about this? And 3 seconds will go by. Well, what do you think about this?
I do that to her.
I'm like, I'm thinking about it. I'm doing exactly what you asked me to do.
Because I'm like, real quick, probably like you. We're real quick on the uptick to like make sure we,
I know I need
tell
to know
people.
the decision. Yes.
Yes. And he's just a little more insightful. And so I've learned that.
And
about
it's probably
him.
more deep. It's actually, there's like a level of depth. Sarah is definitely more insightful. She's been thinking about something about our family and legacy. And then she brought up a verse that she's been thinking about. I'm like, wow, that's good.
Yeah.
And like, I wouldn't have even given that any thought.
Right. Yeah. I think
it takes time.
It takes time.
Yes.
A lot of waiting. You should see us in therapy. We have to do an hour and a half because I have to give 45 minutes of waiting for her to speak. I don't know how I feel. Really, you don't? I don't know. The number one answer, I don't know. You do know.
I think that's why like he likes to know ahead of time, even before this podcast. He was like, what are we going to talk about?
Because I want to know how I'm going to be able to articulate it. I got to put my thoughts together.
He's not one to just like spout off real fast. He's one that he really wants to be intentional about his response.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whatever. I'm just like word vomit all the time.
But I tend to follow the scriptures about being slow to speak.
I know you do. You're just holy.
I want to take a second and thank Hanai Coffee and Cocktails for sponsoring my podcast. This is such a cute place over on the corner of 35th Avenue and Southern. It is very Hawaiian themed because Hanai in Hawaiian actually means adoption. And part of the proceeds that we receive at Hanai go towards Ohana's adoption program, finding kids and teens their forever family. It's a great coffee for a cause, a place that you would want to be for live music, community, friendly customer service, and it's super kid friendly. So Hanai, 35th Avenue and Southern, we hope you can visit someday.
So as you guys have evolved, your guys' passions, careers have changed, shifted. You've had transitions in life, different careers. You've lived at many different states. Like, how do you guys keep each other's goals and passions for each other like a priority? How do you help encourage each other in their as those change?
Yeah, I think that's a big, that's what marriage is truly for, I think, in a lot of ways. And not to get too spiritual or biblical, but I think even in the beginning, God created man in the world for human flourishing. Like, take care of this garden, work it and take care of it. He gives him a mission to do something.
Are you talking some John Comer right now?
No. But
I don't know.
His man crush.
And but then God says, well, it's not good because he's alone on his mission, what I've created him to do. And so I'm going to have someone help him on his mission. And I think I exist in some ways to help Allison on her mission, Whatever that mission is, it's different seasons, it's different things. She exists too to help me on my mission. Like God gives us a purpose and a passion and a mission, and our marriage partner exists to kind of help us on that mission. And so just having that mindset of knowing, okay, this is what she's into now. She's a realtor. That's what she is. So I'm going to do everything I can to help support her on that. When she does other things, when she's doing social media stuff, like, okay, I exist to help encourage her on that mission. For me being a minister or a pastor, she's always been there to help support me on that mission.
Yeah.
And I think too, just almost trying to outserve the other person.
Okay.
Where how can I get to the point where I am like serving, where she'll almost get upset with me sometimes, like, why are you emptying the dishwasher? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing the laundry? And because
he's like, because you haven't done it yet. No.
well,
I was gonna say, wow, that's very nice.
that's what I'm thinking, but that's not what I'm actually saying.
Because it's overflowing.
Because laundry's been on the floor for 3 days.
or just like knowing how challenging it is with Ryson, our son, and our kids. Like, okay, I'm going to try to take that challenge or alleviate that challenge for a while.
Yes.
I'm going to go take him to the park. I'm going to go upstairs. We're just going to go talk. I'll take him to ice cream. Because like a big part of her mission now too is how do I help Ryson, our son? How do I get our daughter prepared for college?
Yeah.
How do I get the graduation notices out? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And what about for you? How do you support?
I mean, for him, I've always just been like his biggest advocate and his biggest cheerleader in whatever he's wanted to do, even if it's.
What if his dreams is like feels not what you want?
Oh, that's a good question. There's this thing going on in culture right now where like women, this feminist movement, even in the Christian culture of like women can do anything men can do. And I don't subscribe to that philosophy. And so for me, I feel like as a submissive wife, and I know that word is so misused and misconstrued, I think, for him, he's the leader of our household. And so I want him to be fulfilled in everything that he does, which means sometimes that what I want doesn't always work out. And so I'm going to support him in that, even when it isn't necessarily what I had hoped for. I'm going to start crying. But I want him to be fulfilled and in his purpose and his calling. And so I submit to that. And a lot of prayer, and dying to myself so that he can be the leader of our household and flourish in his calling. And then I'll figure myself out, if that makes sense. So it's a lot of dying to self.
It's still a partnership though.
Yeah.
And like being that ministry is kind of like our world or has been for the last 20 something years. Also understand that the stronger the ministry is, the stronger our marriage is going to be, and kind of vice versa as well. Like the stronger our marriage is going to be, the stronger our ministry will be as well. So it's trying to determine and figure out, okay, what is the best fit for that? What is the best place? What is the best role? What is the best church? That will help support and lift up our marriage, which also our marriage will help support the ministry as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you guys are I've noticed in the last 3 years, there's been this almost level of transparency, vulnerability. You're outgoing and out there, but you also are learning to be like very reflective. And it's not just your career but it's like, what does the Moores together? And for this season, Ryan may be leading the charge in some way. Yeah. And that's probably hard.
Yeah, especially with just me as a very strong, independent person.
Yeah.
To take not a step down, but like take kind of a back seat. I don't want to say that because we're both in the front seat. Yeah. But he's driving right now. You know what I mean? I'm not driving right now.
And it's like doing like a road trip. There's times when you're driving and then you're driving.
Right.
There's times probably you're taking
the lead or
Yeah.
I mean, there was
Yeah.
a season there where like I was just like crushing it in some areas and I just had to take a step back and be reflective. And I think I have the past 3 years, I've kind of gone through this transformation a little bit of reflection and transparency. And yeah, it's been a growth season for me these last 3 years for sure.
Powerful.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's good.
What about for you?
What? I forgot the question. I'm just listening and just nodding my head. It's so good. How do we like encourage your passions? And
Or
your
I guess
stuff?
no, like what I guess another question could be like, what advice? So as you think about younger couples coming after us, after or for your daughter, what advice would you give them of what you've learned in marriage? What are some advices that you would give them?
Well, I have always told Eliza, you need to marry someone who loves Jesus more than you do.
Okay.
And you know, marry somebody who has the same values, because I think if you don't have the same values, it's going to be a massive issue. Like the Bible even talks about that. So that's always been like my number. I mean, even since she was little, it's been like my number one thing for her is just marrying
like,
somebody.
I feel like the biggest fights in divorce is religion, conversation of religion, money, kids,
Right.
and the roles of in-laws.
Right. We haven't had that problem yet, but
yeah.
So that's always number one. In marriage, is that kind of what you're asking in marriage? What would you say?
Yeah, I think there's this cliche that's this kind of worded now, don't marry someone that you can live with, but marry someone that you can't live without.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that's healthy. I think that kind of promotes codependency. I think you do want to marry someone that you want to live with. And don't put an expectation on someone that they cannot do, that they cannot live with. Like your spouse is not there to complete you. Your spouse is not there to just make your life better. But your spouse is there, like you want to marry someone that you could partner with, living your life on mission for God and what God's desired you and what God has purposed you to do. Marry someone that's going to support you on that and marry someone that you want to support.
And each give 100%. It's not 50-50. Like you each have to give 100%. And if they're not giving 100% in the dating relationship, they're sure as heck not going to do that in a marriage relationship. So
Totally agree.
that would be probably the biggest things that we would, and growing together.
Yeah. I think for me, I would agree that find Jesus, someone that loves Jesus more than you do. I think that changes everything. Because then you can also know that, you're going to go through hard times, but when your faith is in him or in even their family members have that faith, then you know people are praying for your marriage. And I think that's key too. But I also think for my kids, the thing that I enjoy about Ryan is like, I feel like he's my best friend. And some people say like, we became friends and not lovers, but I'm like,
no, we're lovers.
No, it's both. It's both and, you know, it's both and.
Yes,
and
we are lovers and friends.
I think there are times where the
rage lovers,
it's ragey or it's less, but like the friendship is there.
Rage man, if that's your favorite.
And then there's other times that I don't like him as a friend, but I know this also serves his body. So no, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But I think for me, I think the friendship and laughing together a lot has with the faith has saved us in a lot of like tricky situations.
That's good.
Because I choose him. And he's like, no other friend or family member would come before him. And I think it took me a little while to leave like my parents a little bit. Specifically my dad, because my dad was such a good dad. But now I'm like, Brooklyn, take your time, babe. If you come back to dad for a while, and not that that's like, you want that, totally, that's fine. But I'm also like, thank you that you're going to feel secure enough in your own dad that you are like safe here. Yeah. And it will come and you'll be safe with your husband too. It might take a little bit to feel that way, but like,
hopefully we give them an example of what to pursue.
Yes.
Right.
That
absolutely.
is the hope. Yeah. Like we have to be healthy and love each other.
And Ryan's turned out, sorry, Dad, but like Ryan's turned out to be like, I could never imagine someone as great as my dad to marry, but then he ended up being like better than even my dad in some ways.
Right.
And so like there are things that my dad did that were great and Ryan's just like elevated it. So I do think, but my parents will say that's because we've always prayed for your partner, your spouse.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that to me is where I feel like it's on our prayers that our kids are going to have good, healthy marriages.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got to pray for that all the time.
I also remember our parents, which I'm sure yours were similar. My parents would not let us live together before we were married. We were not like, he didn't come on vacations with me, none of that.
No.
And now that we have kids, because I was like, I'm never going to be this way. I'm going to be the cool mom. They can like live with us. You know what I mean? Like I thought I would be that way. And now I'm like, hell no. Like you will not live with someone.
No.
You will, we're not going down that road.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I would say like pursue. I always going to say like the most important decision you'll ever make in your life is who you're going to marry.
Mm-hmm.
So be intentional with that. Do it. I would say
do it early.
Do it early. Struggle together.
Get married early.
I think so.
You know, it's interesting you say that because we got married at 20 and 21. And I look back and like Eliza's 2 years from that.
Yeah.
What?
Whoa. Yeah, that feels too aggressive.
That seems crazy.
You can't imagine it now, but also our culture has shifted so much.
Yes.
So I'm like, if you're saving yourself for marriage, how long can you last?
Right.
Like, and that sounds bad.
How long?
That sounds bad, but it's like, also I appreciate some of the challenges we went through, even growing together, because we still chose each other. And I actually think we're stronger because we went through it. Not because we were 30 years old and had all our crap together.
Right.
Because we were broke. We made, our first several years were making $10,000, $12,000 a year and living in low income housing and struggling together. Like that developed some kind of.
We weren't like two separate households joining.
I think that makes it very, very challenging.
And I think because we grew together as we, like in your 20s, you don't know who you are. I'm not the same person I was when I was 20 when we got married. Thank God he still loves me through all of my changes. But we grew together. And I think a lot of people that get married sometimes grow apart because then they figure out who they are. And so my advice would be, if you're going to marry young, make sure you grow together. And I think faith helps that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's something you have to know going in. Like you think when you're 21, this is who you are. Yeah. But then things happen, you evolve, you change a little bit, you mature, hopefully you grow, and you do change some.
Yeah.
But you have to know that your spouse is going to change through that as well, but you're changing and forming into this person together.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think what happens sometimes when people get married young, oh, my spouse is changing. I'm being a different person as well. I guess we're not in love anymore. We probably need to separate.
You're not who I married.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not.
I'm not the same person.
You need to know. Yeah, and that even probably relates to even if you get married in your 30s, like things are going to happen. You're going to change. You're going to respond to things in a different way.
You have to grow together.
Know that going in.
Yeah. Grow together.
Yeah.
And not apart.
And tell people that it's not as sexy as you think.
No, marriage is hard.
Yeah.
Very hard.
And it's like being faithful.
It is sometimes sexy.
Huh?
It is sometimes sexy.
Sometimes sexy.
Yes.
Well, my 220-pound body. That's not sexy.
In your leopard Speedo.
In my leopard Speedo.
Yeah. I think like Hollywood makes like.
When Sarah and I were talking this morning, we're like, wow, we can really balloon up quick, can't we?
Oh my
God. And we were all
gosh.
saying like, man.
Ryan said, it's so hard to stay skinny.
I was starving. I was like, I don't know, like a long fast. I was like, man. Takes a while to keep these abs showing. You really got to work at it. This sucks.
Yeah.
I haven't seen my abs in 25 years.
You haven't seen them in 25 years? I'll show you mine later.
I was going to say, like, I think Hollywood, like, polarizes, like, separation or divorce or, like, amicably separate or whatever. But I'm like, I think nothing sounds worse than meeting someone right now at age 39 after my body has delivered children, changed so much. Like, have to go out to dinner. Do we stay out late? Do we kid? Like, what do we do? Like, nothing sounds worse to me.
We've talked about that. Like, if one of us
I wouldn't even know what to do. Like, I wouldn't even know, like, how do I meet someone?
If say your spouse died,
so weird.
Are you going to get remarried?
I'd
Raise your hand if you'll be remarried.
I don't think
I don't know. I mean, I don't even want to think about it.
I will never
She says she'll haunt me. She says, if you get remarried, I will haunt you to this.
I will.
To the death.
I don't care.
No one will live up to him.
I'll have to pray out the spirit of
You'll have to
Sarah.
sage Sarah out of your house.
Sage him out.
We rebuke the spirit of Sarah in this building.
Oh my God.
It's not like for me. It just seems like it's too much work. Like I just
Oh,
don't
it
want to
does.
like.
It doesn't
just don't wanna
dating
do
sounds
that.
exhausting right
Yeah.
now.
Can
It's
you
the
imagine
worst.
having to
Terrible.
like tiptoe around someone else than me?
I know.
The years of like having to figure you out.
Yeah.
And then you finally kind of get me.
Oh, I know. We were just hanging out with some friends, and the other wife is like very chatty and like outgoing, but she like talks about all these different random things. Like in like 5 minutes, man, we had 9 topics
So
going.
the things that
And I'm
I
like-
think in my head, she speaks out loud.
And I'm like, oh my.
Ryan was like, "Is this what happens in your head?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah."
All the things. And I'm like, I put things in boxes. We're talking about this topic, then this topic. I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm exhausted for you, babe.
School, sports, faith,
Yeah.
husband, older children, younger children.
Yes.
choices,
I don't
moving.
think I could date again. I don't know. It's hard to think about.
So, okay, end with this question. What do you want people to remember? Say you guys both get in a tragic accident.
Oh my gosh.
That's horrible.
Going here.
No, I'm not gonna do that. What do you want your kids to remember your marriage for? Not you as people, but when they are talking about you guys. What do they want to
Good
remember you for?
grief. Like when, if what they would say about our marriage.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys married him.
I mean,
Look at Allison giving Ryan a second to think.
yeah.
So
Do you need to
good.
think about it for a
Of
second?
course.
I think they'd be, especially our daughter would be observant enough to know, like, you know what, my parents are different. My parents have had challenges, but what I respect about my parents is they've been able to embrace those, not like putting them to the side, but like value each other in their differences and have been resilient to always work things out and always stay together no matter what. Not that there's been moments where we've been like, oh, are we going to be able to stay together through this?
No.
But that it's like we tend to think healthy is no conflict. But healthy is conflict and being able to get through conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And differences.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. But ditto. I can't say it better than that. What about you
What would
guys?
you guys say?
What I hope our kids would say about our marriage.
Yeah.
I would hope they would just see that we loved each other well and that we loved each other first after Christ. And
We learn how to have fun,
I hope that they see that we
Laugh
have
a lot.
fun.
adventure.
And I also hope that they see that you put me first. Because I think there's something about a man and a dad really respecting his wife and like loving her well. Like the mutual thing, yes, absolutely. But I feel like the man and the dad makes way more of a difference, like legacy wise and like, you know, down the road. And so I think the way Ryan talks about, like, I will never forget every time my mom walked out of the house when we were going to church or wherever we were going, if we were all in the car together, my dad would sing, "There she goes, just a walking down the street," you know, like, or that one Beautiful Woman song. And
Pretty
like
Woman?
he was, Pretty Woman. Thank you. And it was always like, "Dad, you're such a dork." And it was like, he loves her and desires her. And I think the comments that Ryan makes to me, or like, you know, funny, like sexual innuendos or whatever, like all the kids are like, "Oh, dad." But it's like, no, I want you to see that. And I think it's really important.
Yeah.
That's good.
That we fight for each other, pursue each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
that's good.
pursuit never stops, no matter how long you've been married.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, gentlemen, ladies?
No, we went way over time.
Yes,
Sorry.
we did. We're at 59 minutes.
It's going to have to be a two-parter.
We're going to have to do a 2-part.
Thanks for joining us today for the Sprinter Mom with Lashes On podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review. We'll see you next week.